Welcome back to the Perfect Father podcast. You can follow us on YouTube at The Perfect Father, also on Instagram at Perfect Father 247. Isaac is stretching me to include this technology. He'll oversee that. You'll get the intro, and then you can hit the YouTube link below to get the entire lesson. I'm excited about this particular invitation because I think it addresses a necessary skill to live life to its fullest. And it's often a skill that's not taught or modeled well in our families and in our lives. And it leaves us vulnerable to people devaluing us, people taking advantage of us, or people enabling and deceiving us. The psalmist begins us with encouraging setting boundaries, or the invitation is to plant wisely with boundaries. If you're following us on Instagram, I encourage you to click the link below to hear the remainder of the lesson. Psalm 1, verses 1 through 3. Blessed is the one who does not walk in step with the wicked, or stand in the way that sinners take, or sit in the company of mockers, but whose delight is in the law of the Lord, and who meditates on his law day and night. That person is like a tree planted by streams of water, which yields its fruit in season, and whose leaf does not wither, and whatever they do prospers. I've also added one of my favorite quotes from Brené Brown. The healthiest people are those that believe that people are doing the best they can with what they have while setting boundaries. I love this quote because as you and I inevitably are around unhealthy or toxic people, we can still think the best. They're doing the best they can with what they have. We don't have to judge them. We don't have to become resentful. We don't have to understand their motives. And along with this, we have the grace and the power to set the necessary boundaries. Our prayer is, gracious Father, empower us to plant wisely by allowing a proven and select people full access and influence in our lives. Our challenge is many of our families did not model or teach the healthy and necessary habit of setting boundaries with unhealthy people, contributing to our allowing open access to be negatively impacted influence by those who do not have our best interest in mind. I think there are three forces that I'd like to discuss that might cause us to be apprehensive about setting boundaries. And I want to say it contributes to us being apprehensive about setting boundaries. It doesn't have to control us. I love the word contributes, by the way. I am not a victim when I acknowledge that something contributes, and then I can address it. I don't have to be controlled by it. The three forces I think that often cause us to be apprehensive about setting boundaries. One is simply personality trait. I've said this before, and I think it's important to restate. Most people have a conscientious, agreeable personality. That's just statistically true. And what that means is we like to be liked. We don't want to hurt people's feelings. And that's not bad in and of itself, but when it's not balanced, that strength can become a weakness. And we're apprehensive about setting boundaries with people. I think false religion or false religious people have taught us that something is wrong with saying no. Something is wrong with hurting people's feelings. I was thinking today about how Jesus responded to those that took advantage of others. Read the Gospels. Read scriptures like it's better that a millstone be tied around your neck and cast into the sea than to deceive any of these little ones. Look at how he treated the Pharisees and Sadducees, those that were taking advantage of others. But I think false religion sometimes causes us to be apprehensive about setting boundaries. And I think probably the strongest force is family, that demands that we give ongoing access to other unhealthy family members. You know, I'm sure you've heard the term, how can you treat so-and-so this way? Fill in the blank, brother, sister, cousin, mother, father. How can you treat them this way? I think it's important to begin by looking at these forces that can contribute to our apprehension in setting boundaries. Because as with many of these invitations, it begins with humility to acknowledge that these forces might be contributing to my apprehension in setting boundaries and thus leaving me vulnerable. His invitation. He invites us to plan our lives wisely by allowing full access to select few people who have proven themselves to have our best interest at heart. Our reflection begins. Pause and consider the chosen metaphor of the psalmist and what a thriving plant requires: the nutrients of the sun, soil, and water, and protection from insects, weeds, and diseases. Recall being around those who, like streams of water, consistently express genuine warmth and care, along with a willingness to warn you concerning things that might harm you. This is who we want to become, right? And this is also the people that we want to consistently be around. Our reflection continues. Conversely, recall being around those who, like parasites, take away nutrition, who are unpredictably erratic, consistently enabling and deceiving, demanding, driven by an insatiable neediness, and express very little interest or care concerning our lives. Unpredictably erratic. These are the types of people that everyone tries to manage their emotions because you just never know what you're going to get. They fly off at the handle, easily offended, consistently demanding. There's a real insecure need to have constant validation and attention. Or consistently enabling and deceiving. And this might be the more challenging one because in some ways we think we benefit from that, from people giving us our way. And I'll just say, someone that won't tell you no does not care about you, does not care about me. Our reflection continues. Adopt the perspective of your perfect Father, that it is an earned, priceless privilege to allow full access to his child's life and story. This is very important. This is his perspective. And notice I didn't say your perspective and my perspective. I don't build my life and my identity on my perspective. That's fragile. That's inconsistent. That's insufficient. Some days I feel better about myself than others. His perspective never changes. He desires that it is a priceless privilege to give access to people to our life and story. An earned priceless privilege. And let me just say this is a short list. And that's just a capacity reality. We don't have enough time. It always ends up being a short list. Something that he told me that I tell myself that goes along with this principle is, I am his to give. Try that one out. In relationships, I am his to give in terms of those I befriend and befriend me. Our reflection continues. Expect that as you increase your understanding of your value in him, you will increase your courage to not allow others to consistently devalue you. This is a process. I want you and me to give ourselves some grace for growth in this area. It's not easy. But as our value increases with him, so does our strength to not allow others to devalue us. Something I say to myself in situations around unhealthy or toxic people is, I'm not okay to be treated that way. And then to decide how I'm going to set a boundary. We had an extreme situation. I'll just share it with you. When we were shopping at Ross, Isaac and I, a week or two ago. We were standing in line. If you've ever been to Ross, you're called up to the register and you have to stand back in line to be called. Well, this gentleman walks up to us, I don't know, maybe a little older than me and pretty well built, and he starts hammering Isaac to give him money to buy a shirt. And he turns to us and said, I've been in prison for 20 years, and you better buy me this shirt for a felony. I don't remember exactly what he said. And you better buy me this shirt. And I just remember in that moment, I looked him directly in the eye and said, sir, I don't respond to threats. And then he walked off. I know that's extreme, but in those situations, it's like, I don't have to be okay with what's going on here. Perhaps it's most challenging when it's about a family member. I'm personally dealing with something with a family member. There's a confrontation that will take place, the next conversation. I'm not excited about that. And I have no idea what the outcome is going to be. But it's very important, if not confronted, the behavior will continue. And if the behavior continues, I'm not going to be a part of it. You know, it's important to believe, yes, people can change and they can express a desire to change. But let me say this, I think it's very important wisdom. Only time tests repentance. Once you see an adjustment behavior over time, then we might alter the way we relate to one another. It is a privilege to allow someone access to my life. And it's a privilege that I don't negotiate often, especially with my self-care. It's very important to me. You know, I've talked about my time with the Lord and non-agenda worship, being in His Word, interceding, getting proper rest, exercise, all those things that keep my capacity to love well. So when I feel people infringing on that time, it's important for me and for them, for me to set a boundary in this area to continue my capacity to love and to care well. Our reflection continues. Strive to be a friend who provides genuine warmth, care, and curiosity, along with the courage to lovingly warn and openly express hurts, hopes, and desires, and wisely only allow full access to others who will do the same. This is our aim. This is our aim, to become this type of person and to be around these type of people. Our reflection continues. Seek support from a wise, caring friend or counselor to assist you in setting and maintaining boundaries with parasitic people. This is very important. Support is important because these decisions and maintaining these decisions and boundaries can be very difficult. You're often dealing with a generational family trait. And I'm not suggesting that it always means you're going to be completely cutting someone out, but you may be altering the expectations, what you expect from them, and limiting access. In extreme situations, you might be putting a boundary that there's no access to my life. We're not going to get it perfect. It's going to be messy. That's why it's important that we invite others to assist us along the way to set and maintain boundaries. Our reflection continues. Imagine the freedom of planting wisely as you minimize the list of those whose opinions you value based on their love and care for you. Minimize that list. Some people, I hear them say, well, I just need to quit caring what other people think. That's not real. We are relational people. But we can minimize that list of those whose opinions we really value about us. Why? Because they know us. They love us for who we are. They encourage us in who we are becoming. So that's always a short list. As you plant wisely, imagine the freedom as you value your value for yourself provides strength to minimize access to those who devalue you. That strength grows over time. We become more strong and courageous, and not being okay with being treated certain ways, and have the strength because of our value for ourselves found in Him. We no longer allow people to consistently devalue us. and as you increasingly care for others in ways that you courageously care for yourself. Again, this is who we are becoming and the type of people that we want to be around. The type of people that provide streams of water. We provide streams of water to them. We're encouraging. We affirm. We exhort. We warn. All of those things. Providing a stream of life to those and allowing those to provide the same to us. Our reflection concludes. As you are prompted by Holy Spirit within to set boundaries by limiting the access of unhealthy people in your life, gently encourage yourself. I will plant wisely. I will plant wisely. I will plant wisely. We will plant wisely so that we may be daily planted by streams of water, which yields its fruit in season, and whose leaf does not wither, and whatever they do prospers. I love you. See you next time.